Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Wolverine Goes to Hell by Jason Aaron Omnibus. So without further ado, let's take a look at this book. Here is the cover of the book featuring some cool artwork, Wolverine looking up in agony, some skulls beside him, and of course we've also got listed everybody who worked on the book there on the cover. And here is the spine of the book, a little beat up it looks. We've also got Wolverine shirtless there on the side, looking furious as ever. And speaking of furious Wolverine looks, we've got this on the back, one hell of a Wolverine book. The best place to start if you're into Wolverine, says comicvine.com. Alright, so this omnibus collects Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine number 1 through 6, Wolverine the 2010 series issue 1 through 20, issue 5.1, and issue 300 through 304. It also collects X-Men Schism 1 through 5, and also material from Wolverine The Road to Hell number 1. So this omnibus sort of acts as a standalone here, that's how it's marketed, but it does come after the Wolverine by Jason Aaron omnibus, and it comes right before the Wolverine and the X-Men omnibus. Now, the back of the book said, this is one of the best places to start Wolverine. Do I think that's true? No, not really. I don't think this is really even super accessible to new readers if you have no real concept of Wolverine and the X-Men and the tertiary characters involved in his life. But overall, I also don't feel that Jason Aaron captures Wolverine well, and I don't think he knows what to do with the character very well either. I'm frankly just not a big fan of Jason Aaron's writing in general. I really did not like Wolverine and the X-Men by him, so probably no surprise that I don't like this omnibus either, but I think this is actually worse. And basically the gist of the story is that Wolverine gets tricked into hell, while on Earth his body is sort of being controlled and running amok and doing evil things as well. And maybe I'm just also very disappointed in sort of the ideas they had for hell here. I'm a big fan of depictions of the afterlife, and specifically the concept of hell is super interesting to me, and the concept of eternal punishment. But this is pretty surface level when it comes to its exploration of that, which would be fine if there was better characterization moments in here, but I also feel like that's not in here, so I'm just left sort of reading this very hollow feeling story that, I don't know, I just felt like I was rushing to get through because I wasn't enjoying it. I also do not say this lightly. I usually try to, be as diplomatic I can on the channel when it comes to authors and their work, but this book is extremely unfunny. It attempts a lot of humor and comedy, and it fails every single time. It's almost amazing. It just constantly seems to also be patting itself on the back, being like, isn't this actually a pretty cool concept, and aren't we doing some pretty awesome edgy dark humor in here? And it's like, no, you're really not actually. Like I said, generic surface level hell, even the devil character that they have is not really like Lucifer or whatever. They don't really go into it that deep. I don't know, I just think if you're gonna do hell, do traditional hell, or if you're going to do a depiction of hell, do a cool depiction of hell and have specificity associated with it so we know that you're doing a different cool depiction of hell. None of that happens here, and it's just like the fiery water of hell, I guess, gets really murky, and you're like, okay, I don't really know what we're doing, but okay, Wolverine's here, snick, okay, I guess that's enough to sell? Not for me. I'm not saying I need like a Jean-Paul Sartre exploration of hell, throw Wolverine in a little no-exit situation. I'm not saying that, although that does actually sound super appealing and fun. But let's do something at least, okay? Let's make a choice. Unfortunately, this omnibus also starts with a very bad story, in my opinion. It's that Wolverine and Spider-Man team up, and basically they get sent back in time, and they're stuck there together for a while, and they're just sort of like odd coupling it up, but man, the writing for Spider-Man is just incredibly annoying. You know how sometimes writers will, when Spider-Man does a team-up series or something like that, or when he's part of an event, they just make him kind of unbearable, just like joke after joke that is not landing. That is what is happening here, except somehow it's worse, and then also the Wolverine characterization, like I said, feels off, feels not cool, feels like mean-spirited in a way, and I didn't like it. So watching the two of them interact was like, oh my god, this is, again, pretty hard to read, pretty hard to get through. I mean, if you are a huge Wolverine fan and X-Men fan in general, You may have some enjoyable moments in here, sort of just like Leonardo DiCaprio pointing to the TV, though, being like, oh, look, Mystique showed up, or like, oh, look, Yukio showed up. But again, I don't feel like anything special is done with those characters in here. They're sort of just there to be like, we're staples of a Wolverine book, showing up and doing our thing. I would say likely the best part of this omnibus is going to be X-Men Schism. And I don't know what the general consensus on X-Men Schism is, so I don't know if it's very beloved, and I'm about to diss it just a little bit. But I think it's a little bit contrived. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it is the most engaging thing in here, I think. It is also funny that this story is included in a Wolverine omnibus, but really, if you read this, hey, maybe you'll think differently, but Cyclops is the one who is really making the good points, and I'm Team Cyclops for this. Wolverine is kind of just, doing the hypocrisy dance the whole time during this, so not the best look for him. Basically, at the time, the mutant population is extremely low, and there's tons of external threats like Sentinels that are looming, and Cyclops is arguing that, hey, we've got like maybe a couple hundred mutants left right now, including like the young mutants, so everyone needs to contribute to the longevity and defense of making sure like mutants continue to thrive, and well, they're not even thriving at this point, but so they have a chance in the future to thrive rather than just, go extinct. And he wants to train the young mutants and have them take responsibility for their own futures since they're facing extinction level events all the time. And Wolverine's like, no, we have to protect the innocent. We have to shield them from the horrors of war. We can't get into this Cyclops militarization of the young type stuff, which again sounds good on paper and in theory, but the context of the time's pretty important. This follows M-Day. Like, they're at risk of total annihilation here. And Cyclops is just trying to empower the younger mutants. It's not like he sees them as expendable. But hey, see, this at least gets you thinking a little bit more than most of the stuff in this omnibus does. But it also probably will be frustrating, I think, for hardcore Wolverine fans because, I don't know, it almost makes him seem like he does not care or is not thinking about, like, the immediate threats that are facing mutant kind, and he's not thinking about mutant kind in any sense of longevity, which really does not make sense for his character. But yeah, I guess maybe Schism is also worth a read just so you know a little bit about contemporary X-Men history and things that have happened, but I would say maybe there's other places you can read it, other collected editions you can get that aren't this omnibus, that has all the extra stuff that is not so great. If you're new to this channel and this is the first video of mine you're watching, I apologize because I must sound like such a hater right now. Usually this is not the case, and usually there's a bunch of positives I can find, and even things that I found maybe a little lukewarm. But man, I don't think I've gone in on a comic this hard or felt this bad about a comic since I read Wolverine and the X-Men by Jason Aaron. As far as the artwork for this omnibus goes, that is also a little bit of a mixed bag. There's a few different artists who work on this book, but some of it is really, really good and really helps uplift the stories in here a little bit. Some of it is not so great, and when the writing's not great and the story's not great, it can be a pretty tough slog to get through. But yeah, ultimately, the main appeal of this omnibus, the big Wolverine goes to hell, Wolverine in hell, you're thinking all this, crazy stuff's going on. It really just doesn't quite work out in execution, so it falls flat. I just think it's crazy they put on the back of this book, like, this is a great place to start reading Wolverine. This is not a great place to start reading Wolverine, guys. If you want a great place to start reading Wolverine, hey, Claremont. Read some Claremont stuff. But okay, if you don't want to read some Claremont stuff, read Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X series. That is like the critical place to start reading Wolverine. Or if you'd like something contemporary, like read Astonishing X-Men or something. That is so much better. Look, I'm not even a big fan of like the Ben Percy, Krakoa era Wolverine stuff, but I think that's a much better place to start reading Wolverine too. And sorry to Ben Percy catching some strays here in a, he's not in this book. Anyway, maybe you're listening and you're like, this guy's crazy. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's all wrong. That's fine. I would love to hear why you enjoy this omnibus if you are someone who enjoyed it. And I would like to hear why you enjoy this more than other Wolverine stories also, if that is the case, because, like I said, not a good place to start reading Wolverine. I think I could even give a new reader House of X, Powers of X, which doesn't have that much Wolverine in it, but the Wolverine moments in it are really good, and they'd be super confused about the story in general, but I think they'd still enjoy it more than this. Okay, I guess my point is, this is not a book that I would recommend for really anyone. Maybe if you are a die-hard Wolverine fan, Wolverine completionist, then you can get this, but there's so many Wolverine omnibuses that I would even say Don't worry about this one. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed this video, even if I had to be a little more negative than I usually am here. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.